Hey everyone, so today I wanted to do a video answering your questions about sex, drugs, and friends. Those seem to be the topics that I get asked about a lot, and while I do not know everything, I can at least share my own experience and my advice that I have, and I really value honesty on my channel. I think that's the biggest thing about my channel, that I'm just open with you guys, and I thank you guys so much for the loving support of you guys saying that you really appreciate that and you recognize that, and it is something that you do like. So thank you for that support. I will continue, of course, to being very honest, very open, and just hopefully helping anyone that is going through a similar situation or has questions about any of the things asked in today's video. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into the questions. So the first question comes from Camille, and she says, should I tell my boyfriend how many guys I've slept with? He's questioning me and I'm not sure how to feel about this because the number is rather high and I don't want him to judge me. Okay, so first of all, there are a few different points to this question. Number one, I think in most relationships, some people I think would rather just not know, I guess, but I think in most relationships, it's pretty normal and healthy and expected to maybe talk about your past history, your past sexual history. But number one, for just, being safe, you have to obviously realize the more people that you're with is the more people that you're exposed to. You have to also think about someone that you were with, who they were with, and who they were with, and it's a huge cycle. So you do need to keep that in mind, and I think it's totally okay that a partner would ask you that or be curious to learn about that. Something I don't think is okay, I guess, would be passing judgment on you, if the number is high or low or whatever it may be. I don't think that defines you as a person. The choices that you make sexually with your body are private. They are your own choices. But I also think that, just come to a loving agreement where you can have a very open, honest conversation. If you're in a mature relationship where you are sexually active, you should be able to have a calm conversation about this. Realize that you now are together with them and these were things that happened before the person. Because I have heard stories of, people getting into this conversation and then their boyfriend getting really mad or getting really angry about guys that they've been with in the past and just kind of creating a whole big argument over something that it wasn't really actually about. I had a friend of mine who had this conversation with her boyfriend and then he refused to tell her how many girls he had been with. He demanded that he knew how many guys she had been with, and then when they discussed it, he would not tell her, and he said it wasn't, her right to know that, and it was different for guys to sleep with girls and it was for girls to sleep with guys and all this stuff. And I don't think that's fair at all. I think if you are going to ask someone that intimate of a question, you also have to be ready and open that they're probably going to ask you the same question as well. And to answer your question, I do think it's a normal question for people to ask. I don't think that's crazy for someone to want to know that information, especially with someone that they love and care about and that they are with. Samantha says, what is your biggest turn off in a guy and your biggest turn on? So biggest turn off I think would be someone who cannot handle their emotions well, particularly someone who has a temper or a really bad attitude or just gets really angry and frustrated and heated. I really don't like that. It honestly kind of scares me, and I just don't think it shows, a very good restraint of your emotions. I think everyone gets upset, gets irritated, gets jealous, whatever it may be, but you don't need to scream and yell and fight and punch people and all that kind of stuff to show that you care or show that you're passionate in a relationship. I've definitely been out with guys that definitely had bad tempers and stuff, and that's just not good. I mean, it's a very dangerous thing to put yourself in. Thankfully, I've never been in a bad situation with that, but I do know, friends who have dated guys that were borderline abusive, and of course, I've heard about stories, people that were stuck in these relationships that were really manipulative, of someone getting really angry and upset and yelling at them, and then the next day kind of following it up with that they were so sorry, or, making the girlfriend feel like she did something to deserve that, and that's definitely not healthy and normal at all. And I would say if you are in a relationship like that, reach out to someone that you trust, a friend or a family member, or, a counselor or something, and talk to them about it, because no one should be treated like that, and it honestly can get dangerous, especially if you're with someone that cannot control themselves when they get upset or angry. But yeah, I would say just that is definitely a big turnoff. I like someone that can calmly, express their feelings. If they are really angry or really jealous, they don't freak out about it. I think that's very, very important. And it also goes over into other little things, daily struggles in life, losing your luggage at the airport, or, having to wait in a long line to go to dinner. All these little things that happen in life and they're not necessarily that fun to deal with. I, of course, never want to be with someone that makes it more non-enjoyable, if that makes sense. Like someone that makes it that big of a deal just when things, things happen in life, and that's kind of how it is, and you got to be able to kind of roll with that. On the second part of that question, biggest turn on would probably be kind of the exact opposite of that, I guess, would be someone that's able to express their feelings and their emotions and the way that they view things in a healthy and mature way. I think for guys, I'm not saying all guys, but I think for guys it takes a little bit longer to get to that point. It seems like girls are, just a bit better at doing that. But I found like the older of the guys that I've met, they definitely can explain themselves a lot better, talk through problems better, have a better view on what they want in a relationship, what they don't want. And it seems to me that younger guys maybe haven't gotten to that point yet, or they need to kind of, mature and go through more experiences to be able to do that. But yes, those would definitely be my biggest turn-ons, turn-offs. I don't know if she meant like physically, but I was taking that a little bit deeper because it is interesting how, physical things really do matter so little when like the rest of the package isn't there. I definitely have met guys that were so physically attractive, but that really dissolved when, the way that they acted or their personality or things like that really weren't what I was looking for. And it sounds so cliche, I know, but it is true. And I think, it's something good to realize because I feel like we've become so obsessed with the way people look, nowadays. It's definitely a very big thing and a big factor. Everyone's very competitive on the way that they look. But I think you also need to not neglect, your inner self and who you really are, because that really is what sticks in people's minds. And I think also, just with the sheer fact that there are a lot of attractive people in the world, so you have to have something more to offer than just your looks. And in the long run, that's really going to be what sets you apart from other people. Jenny says, how do you deal with a friend breakup? Honestly, this has affected me more than any relationship breakup. First of all, I feel for you. I'm very, sorry to hear that. But I think it's so normal that you're going to go through periods of time where the people that you're surrounded with, friends, will change. And that's just, growing up and changing as a person. I think, my number one rule, I guess, is to surround myself with people that make me want to be better. Not in a way that I have to impress them or anything or change who I am, but people that are, people that I admire. I want to be around people that are doing things, that are, being good people, that are really, striving for their goals, their dreams, and just are people that make me feel like, that desire to also, be a really good person and a really good representation of myself, and also a really good friend. I definitely am someone where I can, enjoy time on my own, but I also can enjoy quality time with a friend. And to me, I think a true friend is someone that you don't have to necessarily see every single day, speak to every single day, but when you are with them and your conversations with them are meaningful and very, open and honest and loving. And I think I have friends that live all over the country and stuff for school and work and, go different places and stuff. And it's crazy to meet up with them and feel like you're just, right where you left off. Like nothing has changed. And that's really, in my opinion, the sign of a true good friendship, that it feels that effortless when you are together after not being together for a while. But as far as a friend breakup, it is, like a relationship breakup. You have to kind of mourn it in the same way to kind of get over it, to kind of have that mend and heal. But it will hurt, and it probably will hurt more than a breakup because, a really true good best friend probably knew a lot about you and had been with you through a lot. And you have to just look at the situation and figure out if you think that's best for both of you. If you think, your friendship was causing you to be upset or them to be upset, really just assess that and think about that. And, don't feel like the memories that you have with that person are gone or that they meant nothing. They definitely did, but people change. And you have to now look at it as the person that they now are or the person that you now are. You're different people, and so your interactions would not be the same anymore. So while you have these amazing great memories that you can look back on and think about, you're now, now coming together as friends, it wouldn't be the same. And I think when you think about it that way, it makes it a little less hard to kind of let go and to kind of accept that and move forward. But good luck with that. I know that's very hard. Amber says, I want to experiment with drugs. Have you ever tried it? Any tips and stuff like that? So this question is a little bit controversial, of course. Drugs are illegal, and like I said, I've always been honest with you guys. I have smoked weed before, and I made a video previously a little bit about it. Really not my thing. I didn't really like it. I'm typically someone who I like to be very in control of my body, my emotions, my actions, my mind, all that kind of stuff. So for me, drugs were never something I really wanted to do. Now, since I don't really have much experience with them, people will probably correct me in the comments, which is totally fine because this is something I don't know a ton about. But a lot of times, at least from what I've seen, from people that I've known and stuff, doing drugs is kind of something to escape, to get to a different feeling or a different place. And for me, that's something I don't like to do. That's not something that sounds appealing to me. I definitely have been offered drugs in the past. I think, going through high school, middle school, you go through health class and stuff, and they talk about peer pressure and all that kind of stuff. I do have to say though, no one has ever pressured me into doing drugs. I've definitely been offered. And another interesting thing is, when you think of doing drugs, I think a lot of people think of it as a very, like you're by yourself in a dark room and all this stuff. But from what I've seen, it's very social. I mean, a lot of people do it when they're with friends, when they're around people. And, that was kind of something eye-opening, I guess, for me to realize going through high school and stuff and college that, it's not necessarily something that's very hidden. A lot of people are very open about it, and it is in like social settings with other people around. For the most part, drugs are expensive. So if someone offers you something and you don't want it, typically, I don't think they're going to get offended or mad that you don't want to do it. And if they do, obviously those people are bad news and you shouldn't be around them, because I think you really need to be in control of all the choices that you make. I had a friend that I went to school with, and he actually passed away he did some type of synthetic drug, and I will go ahead and link an article about it because I don't know exactly, all the terms and stuff, so definitely go ahead and read it. Very, very sad story. He definitely was always like the life of the party, a really fun guy to be around, really adventurous, and his mom kind of goes on to say that, he was always willing to try things and willing to do adventurous stuff. And one day he made the choice to try this drug, and it reacted with his body badly, and he passed away. And that is incredibly sad, such a tragedy. But his mom has taken that tragedy and has made it her mission to educate parents and kids about the dangers of drugs and stuff, and also just about your choices that you make and how those affect people, and how, his whole family is affected, his friends, everyone, from one choice that he made. So it's very, scary to think that, doing something once, you never know necessarily what you're getting or how your body will react with it. And for me, that's enough for me to not really be interested in doing drugs ever. So, like I said, definitely go ahead and read the article I'll list below, because it's very, very sad, but something I think people need to know about. And especially, teens and young people that are, hearing about drugs and, thinking about experimenting with them, you really need to think about it, because it could cause some really terrible things to happen in life. And, that choice can really affect a lot of people that you make. The next question comes from Carter, and she says, how early is too early to sleep with a guy? So this is a very open-ended, kind of broad question, and I think there is not one answer. Now, I have made a video about this in the past, and it was called Sex on the First Date. And it posed the question to my viewers, which got a lot of response and a lot of really interesting, points of views and advice on, what if you go on a date with someone and you have a really great time with them, you're really connected, and you really feel like you want to be intimate with them. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Most of the answers were probably no, I think, but some of them were, I was someone that slept with my boyfriend on the first date and now we're married and all that stuff. There definitely were comments like that as well. My personal take on that is, to be sexually interested in someone, of course, can be very physical. You can see someone attractive and be like, oh, I would love to be with them. But for me, it's something that has to be a bit more emotional. And I realized that it takes more than one date, for me specifically, to build that emotional attraction where I want to actually be intimate with someone. And I have found that that works the best for me, for sure, because I don't want to ever look back on something and, feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I didn't want to do that, or anything like that. And I think for the most part, I really have taken the time to get to know people's true colors and the real them and how they actually are. And, with that, I think you can make a better choice on if you want to be intimate with someone, because, later on in the relationship or, in the dating process, things might come up that make you realize that, you're not as into this person as you thought you were, or you maybe don't want to, be with them on that level. So I think, just take it easy, definitely feel it out. You have to kind of experience it for yourself, I think, and figure out what's right for you. But definitely refer back to that old video if you want to read some more comments, because a lot of the viewers gave some great advice and I really appreciated that. It's definitely my favorite part of my channel, to have people help each other and give their own advice and their own experiences. I think is absolutely amazing and definitely what I want my channel to be here for. So that's it for the questions today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later.